All right. The Rebbe here is speaking about the uniqueness of Shabbat and the rest of the days of the week, and how this applies to us, to look at the world in a different way. And also how this is relevant to the month of Elul. Like I say, when the Rebbe spoke this, Akiv, this week's Torah portion, was Shabbat Mavorchim. It was read on the last Shabbat of the month that the next month is, the Shabbat that the next month is blessed. And the next month was Elul. That was when the Rebbe said it. That's the way it fell out. That immediately after, that in the week coming after Parshat Akiv was the month of Elul. But this year it doesn't work that way. And this year, it's 2 weeks after. Okay, but nevertheless, the message is still so true. The month of Elul is not going to come 1 week after the Shabbos. It's going to come 2 weeks after the Shabbat, right? In the second week after the Shabbat. But nevertheless, the message of Elul is a very important one. Elul is called the month of self-reckoning, self-evaluation, as a preparation for Rosh Hashanah, for the beginning of the year. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, that's called the Day of Judgment. God judges the whole entire world according to how the Jews act on Rosh Hashanah. And the month of Elul is a preparation for this awesome, important day, Rosh Hashanah. So the Rebbe says, therefore, the month of Elul is the month when we have to make a evaluation of ourselves. Okay, evaluation according to what standards? What are the standards? How much money we made? What are the standards exactly that we're supposed to evaluate ourselves? So the Rebbe said, well, I mean, the whole idea, of course, is to serve the creator of the universe. So that's how we should evaluate ourselves. Okay, so we can learn from Shabbat and the rest of the week. Two ways of serving God. Now, in one way, Shabbat comes after all the days of the week, but in another way, Shabbat comes before the days of the week. Because what is Shabbat? Shabbat is a revelation of God. And before the world was created, there was pure godliness. So if so, there's two ways also of evaluating our service of God. Two ways of serving God. Yesh lomar shebedugma lazeh yeshnam shtei minyanim v'sidorim elu b'avodas adam. There are also two ways and manners that man can serve the Creator. Since that the whole purpose of creating the world was for the Jews. Who would dream of that? The whole purpose of the world is for the Jews to serve God in the world. Kol inyanim b'bria, including these time, is found in the Jewish people. Haminyan milamata l'mayla. This is counting from below to above, namely starting off from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and ending up on Shabbat. Shematchil miyom rishon. It begins on the first day, and then it completes on Shabbat. But then there's another way of serving God, which starts off from above, milamayla lamata. It begins immediately by Shabbat. That's what it means that Shabbat was preceding the world. Umavorech, and this gives blessing to the 6 days that come afterwards. Yehudi, a Jew, murkav mishnei chalakim. A Jew has two, is composed of two aspects. I mean, every human being is, but we're talking about the Jews because the idea of the Jews is to put this whole thing and sync and synchronize it with what God wants all the time. And we're talking about every Jew, not just priests or holy people. The nation of Jews is called a Mamlechet Kohanim, Magoy Kadosh. Every Jew is a priest. Every Jew is holy. So this whole idea of time, we can see in every Jew. There is what's called a soul and a body. Nishmato, the soul of a Jew, is Chelek Elokam Mimal Mamash. It's a portion of God from above. Hainu, namely, Shagam Ba'olam, Amamashos, that even in the physical world, Ba'olam Asiyah, in this physical, Harihu Chelek Elokam Mimal. The Jewish people are called the Chelek. Their soul is a Chelek Elokam Mimal Mamash. It's a portion of God. Really, what does it mean? Even in this real physical world that you can feel, nevertheless, the Jews have a portion of God in the world. Like the Holy Temple. What was the Holy Temple? The Holy Temple was a building. It was in a certain place. It was very limited. It had very, very exact specifications. And in the Holy of Holies, where no one ever went in there, just one time a year, and the high priest could go in just for a few minutes. There was God, pure godliness was revealed. Pure godliness was revealed, showing that God is not spiritual. If he was spiritual, then he couldn't reveal in a physical place. And the essence of God was revealed in a physical place. That's what every Jew is. The gufo, that's the soul of a Jew. It's called a portion of God. It's above spiritual. But the body of a Jew, which is Afer Mina Adama, which is just dirt from the ground, Afer Atav El Afer Tashuv, that a person is made from dirt, and he returns to dirt. Dirt, that we said before, that's like the Jews coming to the land of Israel to transform this dirt. Like it says, Nafshi Kafar Lachaltiya, my soul is like dirt to everyone, like a soul in the body. How much more so, Nafshi Kafar Lachaltiya. It says, my soul should be like dirt. That's the lower part. Humility. The upper part is godliness. You know exactly what to do. The lower part is you just have to keep it quiet. The mitzad gufo, from the aspect of a Jew, that's from his body, that's afer min adama, that it's just dirt. Shenivra me'afer, it comes from dirt. This is the oretz, that it was created from the dirt of the earth, which the dirt of the earth was created on the first day of creation. What does it say? Breshis bor Elokim, at the Shemayim v'et oretz. The first day, tzorech avodaso, has to be beseder v'adraga milamat l'mayla. As far as the body goes, so the service of God has to be from below to above. Minakal lakavit, from what's easy to what's heavy. Afarata, and then you can go from level to level until you get to a higher level. That's serving God from below to above. That's as far as the body goes, working on your nature. Avobad, mitzad, nishmato, but from the soul of a person, yesh b'kocho shel Yehudi, every Jew has the power, the ability, la'asot et avodato, to do his service, b'derech milamayla lamata, from above to below. The soul, from the aspect of the soul, everything is already done. You don't have to go from a kol l'kavod, from what's easier to what's more difficult. But you can do the most difficult things right in the beginning. From the soul, you can jump over all obstacles. That's something like Shabbat. In Shabbat, it says all of your work is done. Malechet Shamayim, Kevin Shagam Bi Yoso. In the Shama Baguf, even when the soul is in the body, below, It's a portion of God from above. Kashur Shem Shemayim. Himal Yehudi Shememi. It says that a Jew attaches, because every Jew is a spiritual person. He has this power, and he needs to demand from himself that he has to be complete. A Jew can never be satisfied with what he's got. That's when he reveals his Jewish soul. Ad Gadolos Niflos, and he has to demand even the greatest. Shleimus de Yom Shekul Shabbos. Tell the idea of Yom Shekul Shabbos. And it was from this aspect of the Jew's soul, he can't be satisfied with anything less than the total revelation of God in the whole entire world. That's the idea of Moshiach. And not only can't be satisfied because it's in his ability. Yesh Lomar, we can say that that's this whole thing, that these two things of Shabbat and the weekdays, in other words, serving God from little by little, from below, working our way up, or from above, starting off thinking, no, I have the power and the ability to change the whole entire world, and I'm going to do it. These two ways of serving God, this is also hinted at in the month of Elul. Ani ledodi, vedodi li. The first initials are Elul. Ani ledodi, vedodi li. This is from above to below. Milamaila lamata, from above to below, which is, I'm sorry, I skipped. Ani ledodi, this is from below to above. I go up to God. And dodi li, and that God comes down to me. This is from above to below. This is hinted at when Rosh Chodesh Elul comes. Okay, this is not relevant to us, so let's just. So we're saying now that therefore there has to be a elevation. And at the same time, there has to be drawing down of a blessing. That's what we just finished learning in the Maimer. The first blessing is talking about from above to below, that God does everything. And the second one is that we do everything, but with God's help. The same thing as Shabbat. Shabbat is that God does everything from above to below. And the second is that we do everything, but with God's help. That's hinted at Ani Ledodi, which means that I am going up to God. I'm doing it, everything, but with God's help, I'm going up. And Dodi Li means that God, he does everything. This service, now that's how we're supposed to judge ourselves. So this service of from below to above, working little by little, this has to be also on the day of Shabbat itself and Yom Tov. Even on Yom Kippur, Achat B'Shana, Yom Kippur, Simchat Torah. So even when there is this idea of God revealing himself in the world and God doing everything, but still you still have to work yourself. When a person serves God in a way that's above any limitations, which that's stressed in the other days of the year, Gam Yom Shabbat B'Yom Tov. So therefore, we can, then Shabbat is considered to be one of the days of the week, from below to above. Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni. Like we say in the song of the day, Yom Yom Rishon l'Shabbos, Yom Yom Sheni. We're coming closer and closer. Every day comes closer and closer to Shabbat. That's the Ani Ledodi. I am to my beloved, serving God from below. But on the other side, every day, even in the weekdays, there has to be, because of the soul of the Jew, service from above to below. What does it mean? There are no obstacles. There are no difficulties. I'm doing what God says. I'm not paying any attention to anyone. I'm already totally refined. That's like the service of Shabbat. Like the rabbis, like Beit Shammai says, Zachorat Yom HaShabbat Lakadsho, that every day, Shetei Zochro Mi'echad B'Shabbat, She'im Nizdam Lo Chelek Yafet, Beit Shammai said that every day you have to remember Shabbat. that if in the middle of the week, let's say Sunday, you find a nice loaf of bread or something, then you should say, I'm saving this for Shabbat. Right? If I can preserve it so this still is fresh, this is the what Kahana got Shammai Azaken. That's what Shammai did, that all of his days he would eat for the honor of Shabbat. How? If he found a nice animal, so he would say, this is for Shabbat. If he would find a nicer animal than that, they didn't used to have refrigeration, right? So they would have to slaughter the animal right before Shabbat. If he found a nicer animal, then he would buy that, and this is for Shabbat. In other words, the whole day he was thinking about Shabbat, the whole week. All of the weekdays, it was by him, it was felt the holiness of Shabbat. That was the aspect of Beit Shammai, which is not the case. Hillel, he had a different way of looking at the world. He would say, thank God for every single day. Every day take on its own, and by means of this, you come to Shabbat. In general, that's the Jewish people. Right? You look at a Jew, you can see that that's what a Jew is. A Jew is in the world, but on the other hand, he's totally outside of the world. A Jew has these two things. They are, in general, the whole Jewish people, there's what's called Yisachar and Zavulun. Yisachar are those people that sit and they learn Torah all the time. They're totally devoted to Torah and the commandments, spiritual things. Yisachar and Zavulun. Yisachar, that refers to Mari Torah. These are people who learn the Torah all the time. She'ikar avoda, some of the main service that they have is learning Torah. Bechina Shabbos. Avoda milamai lamata, coming from above to below. Zavulun, this refers to Bali Esek. Zavulun is talking about working men. They work in the world. Their main thing is to do commandments. That's their main thing, to do commandments, to spread Judaism. Malubavitcher is b'dvarim gashmim. In other words, to do physical things. Darki ateva. This is the weekday occupation. This is from below to above. Okay, so now we're getting around to what type of reckoning are you supposed to make on your soul in the month of Elul? And so it's supposed to be, am I serving the Creator in these two ways? First of all, remembering all the time that I'm a Jew, and a Jew has no limitations, just to do what God wants, nothing can stop me. And the other hand, to realize, listen, I'm in the world, and I have to purify the world little by little. I have to work on my personality. I have to work on my attitude. I have to work on learning more and praying more. I have to work. These two different ways are hinted at in Rosh Chodesh Elul. Like he says in that year back then, that it was Shabbat and Yom Rishon. This year it's Yom Rishon and Yom Sheni. The main thing is the second day of Rosh Chodesh. That in it we begin to count the days of the month of Elul. And this year it's going to be Yom Sheni. He says this year the main thing is going to be Yom Rishon. In other words, the whole idea is going to be serving God from below to above. That's the whole idea of Ani Ladodi, serving God from below to above. So therefore, we can say the reason for this in this year. All right, let's do 1 second. Okay, Seder Regil, usually, how does a person usually serve God? Is Ani Ladodi, starting from below to above. And because God wants that he should have a dwelling place in the physical world. So God put us in the physical world so that we should work from below to above, take physical things and use them for God. Go to synagogue and start thinking about God until it gets more real and real to you, going from below to above. Therefore, you have to serve God in a normal way. That's the way that God made the world, nature. You have to go from below to above. You want to learn to be a doctor, you have to start off from the beginning. You want to learn to be a lawyer, you want to be anything. You have to start off and do simple things first, and then you can get more complicated. That's what the world is about. Learning Torah. Let's take it in Judaism. You want to learn Torah. You start off, it says, Ben Chamesh Lamikra, Someone who's 5 years old, you teach them the Chumash. When he's 10 years old, then he can learn Mishnah, and etc. Little by little. According to this, so it comes out that even though that the service of making God a dwelling in the lower world, this is brought about al yadeh, by means of service from below to above. But it's also done by means of service from above to below. But the main emphasis is from below to above. Right? That's people don't start off serving God from this tremendous inspiration. I can do whatever I want to, right? I can do whatever God wants. Nothing is going to stop me. I'm inspired. Usually people start from below to above, little by little. Hagam, even though that a Jew has got a soul, and the soul comes from the Elyonim, it comes from God, that because of this, he's got the power to serve God from above to below, like it says, to jump over all obstacles. But God decided to take the soul and put it in a physical body. So in the lower worlds. I mean, you can just take a simple example. Judaism believes that there's a thing called incarnations, right? Reincarnation. And it goes according to the Torah and the commandments that you do. Now, most people, they have no idea who was their previous incarnation. There's books that are written. There's a book of, first of all, there's Sefer Gilgulin, but there's also Seder Hadoros written from, and there's other books which are written that say that Hillel was a Gilgul from, Rabbi Akiva, from Abraham, and Shammai was from Yitzchak. They have, who was the Gilgul from Adam Arishon, from Adam Arishon's ear came this person. There is such a thing as Gilgulim. And it goes according to, did the soul complete the service it was created for? We talked about that before with the 42 journeys in the desert. It's also talking about that if people don't do the 42 journeys, the 42 situations that they're in, everybody in their life, that they're supposed to meet with these 42 decisions and difficulties and challenges that they meet up with in life and make the right choices, so they have to come into reincarnation. Most people don't have any idea what their previous incarnation was. They have no idea whatsoever. Now, what does it mean an incarnation? Just look at yourself right now. What does it mean? You have a house, you have friends, you have a family, you have a bank account, you have your name, your cellular phone number, your address, you have a whole complicated personality and who you are. And all of this stuff just falls away. In the raising of the dead, it'll all come back somehow or other, but you have a mother that you love and your father and your friends, your wife, your children. All this falls away. It all falls away. The essence of the soul, what's left? Only the good deeds that the person did. So it says God puts the soul into the world, right, in order to deal with this physical world in a godly way. And those godly things you do, those are the things that really count. That's the real you. Afar min adama. In this world, she'ein tachton lamatam, there's nothing below it. Why? Because in this physical low world is found the tachlis hakavana. That's the whole purpose of a Jew. The purpose of a Jew is to be in this world and to meet with these challenges. That accomplishes something that the soul cannot achieve in the upper worlds. There are no challenges in the upper worlds, but you don't have to make any deep decisions or sacrifices. Soul and the body. Yeah, I said that by means of this, it makes a dwelling for God in the physical world. That's how we should evaluate ourselves in the month of Elul, right? According to the soul. And therefore, avodas havayikaras, the main service of a Jew, im nishmaso, if his soul is how it's supposed to be in the body, avoda b'derech hateva, it should be first of all serving God in a natural way according to the limitations of his physical body and the physical world, serving God from below to above. Ani ladodi. You learn, you make mistakes, you learn a bit more. You have experiences. You learn from the experiences. You take example from other people, little by little. But there also has to be a service of dodili, from above to below. Hamshacha milamaylamata gilui anashama. Reveal your soul. Tzarich liot ba'ofen muvdal mi'amata. It has to be in a way that the physical world doesn't have any effect on you. You're not in the world anymore. It's not important who you are, who your family is, what your name is, how much money you have in your bank account, what your phone number is, and what your address is. These things are not important. You're serving God from your soul. Ella b'derech hamshacha, all I'm concerned about is what does God want? Dodi li, Adam. So 2 ways of serving God. From below to above, nature, and above to below. According to this, Yesh Lomar, we can say that the reason that the Jewish people count Miyom Rishon Shel Shavua, Kevan Shebriya Adam, since man was created on the 6th day of creation. When was man created? What does it say in the Bible? Man was created on the 6th day of creation. Kol Adam, it was the last thing created. Kol Adam, every person, every person is something like the first man. Therefore, man was created alone. Says in the Mishnah in Sanhedrin. On the 6th day, that's when man was really created. But he was created in such a way. God blew into his soul, into his nostrils, a godly soul. Hari hoyatzorech shemibein azman. I'm sorry. Sheminyan hazman. It should have been that man should have started counting the week from the day that he was created, from Yom Shishi, the 6th day. Hainash Yom Shishi. This is the day that it says Zayom Tchilat Masecha. The day that God created the world was the day that man was created. Right? That's what we say in the prayers of Rosh Hashanah. Zayom Tchilat Masecha. True, God had been creating things already for 6 days. Man was the last thing to be created, but that was all like a preparation for man. So it should be that the week begins with the day man was created. The year begins with the day man was created. Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish people. Rosh Hashanah, the first New Year's, is from the day man was created. So why not start the week from that day also? There should be that the 6th day, that's when the day should have started. Right? So that's how the Jewish calendar should be. It should be Yom Rishon, and then after that, Shabbat. Ella, but Hiyot, Shekavana, the intention is that God wants to have a dwelling in the lower worlds, but Tachton, She'ein Tachton Mimatameno, in the world that there's nothing lower than it, that the whole world screams out, there is no God. And therefore, therefore, service of God has to begin not on the 6th day when man was created, a tzaddik, pure. God blew this godly soul into man. That man was created last, everything was complete. That's not, we don't want to start the creation from the counting of the days from the day that man was created to be a tzaddik. Man was pure. This is before he ate from the tree. It says, Vayar Elokim is called Asher Sev Tov Mod. God said on the 3rd day, on the 6th day, he said everything that he saw was very good. Everything was ready so that man would be able to immediately go into to start working in the world. So, but God did not start the weekday from the Yom Shishi, from the day man was created. God started the counting from 6 days earlier. God wanted that the purpose of man was not to be perfect alone. It was to perfect the world. So the emphasis is on the world. Davka b'tachtonim. Only by means of the physical world, which God started creating on the 1st day, by means of this can be made a dwelling for God, the essence of God. so to speak, the world, man working in the world, can reveal an aspect of God that wasn't revealed before creation. Al derech, like it is, according to his havos of bria, shekoach ha'atzmus, that the true essence of God, the yesh emiti, mitkaleh, is revealed only in this physical world. So that God created the world, even though it was a tremendous descent from godliness, and he had to conceal himself and hide himself and make all sorts of contractions and concealments and veils and removals in order to come down to this totally unreal world. But nevertheless, in this totally unreal world, this is the only place where God's essence can be revealed. By going against all odds and revealing God's essence in this world, that's the main thing. So that's with the reckoning that we should do on the month of Elul. Are we doing this work of bringing the world to recognize godliness? Similarly, we just do the last one. Similarly, we can say about the soul and the body, that the completion of revelation of the essence of the soul in the body, like it says, Vayipach nishbas chayim, that God, it says, blew into man's soul. According to it seems that according to at least the Tanya, that the first man was really a Jew. If he would not have eaten from the tree, then the whole world would be Jews. What does it mean, Jews? Serving God. The purpose would only be to serve God. After Adam ate from the tree, so the whole world became confused until Abraham came. And Abraham, he became the first Jew. That's why it says that Adam, the first man, he's buried together with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in Marat HaMachpelah. So it says Adam was in a way, that was the ideal Jew. Adam, first man. It was a body, and God personally inserted, it says he blew into his nostrils a living soul, a Jewish soul, a soul that was connected to God, that felt that it was a son of God. That's what it brings in the second chapter of the Tanya. It brings the sentence to show that that's what it means the Jews are called the sons of God. That this gives the power to a Jew and the ability to work on everything that was created the 6 days before. That's the Jew has the power from this level of Dodi Li, bringing God down, that this is revealed in the soul as it is in the physical body by means of serving God from below to above. So that's why the world, we start the week on Yom Rishon, even though man was created on Yom Shishi, and the year begins on Yom Shishi, on the 6th day of creation. That's when the year begins. But the main purpose why man was created was in order to refine the world. And that's what we're going to learn about God willing, more tomorrow, to take the dirt and to elevate it to the highest levels. Now to the creator of the dirt, let's learn now. Where is it? Why am I not seeing this? Just one moment. All right. Huh? Sometimes you get to it, sometimes you don't. Yeah. The middle Rebbe quoted the Alter Rebbe. The second Rebbe quoted his father. And he said, the love of every Jew, Bedarv Darnemen, it should, how do you say, consume, okay, Barnemen, it should, it should conquer you until you're willing, how do you say, Mutzu Nefesh? I guess that's the best translation. Ad Mutzu Nefesh. You see, the Rambam brings this example. So that's the reason I'm bringing the example that I'm going to bring you right now. It says that a person is supposed to love God, like you see there's these love songs, right? That a person, he says he loves a woman and he's longing for her and thinking about her. There's even a weird law in the laws of Shabbat, just in general, that if a person, a Jew, says that he wants to, he's dying, and he says that he wants to just look at this lady, that they should bring this lady, which a lady that's forbidden for him, that he should just look at her, or anything like that, that you're not supposed to bring it, because Jewish women are not supposed to be cheapened. What does it mean? But this guy is dying, and the only thing that will cure him is to look at this lady. I mean, that really makes sense. But his longing is so great that he's dying for this. And that's like all these rock and roll songs. Is dying. And the Rambam brings that a person should love God like a person is longing for this lady that he falls in love with. So it says, the Rebbe says, that's the way it should be for every Jew. That the degree says, one second. What is this? Oh, good, okay. He said that this is the way it should be, not just for God, but it should be for every Jew. The love that a Jew should have for every other Jew, it should be until it consumes the person entirely. That a person is just longing with all of his being to see that it should be good for every Jew. Good for every Jew means that every Jew does the Torah and the commandments. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. Have a good day with Moshiach. Now, see you at 3:00, Chumash class.